Hey guys, I think we are live. I'm starting the stream like 20 minutes early today because last week I had to leave early, a few minutes early. So I'm gonna try to make that up to you guys this week. Let me know if everything looks okay, sounds okay. All right, we look good. Everything is working as usual. Hey guys, thank you for joining this Saturday. Actually, it's Saturday for you if you're in America. It's Sunday for me because I'm in Japan. That's what you see behind me. This is Tokyo, and I will only be here for 3 more days. And then I will head back to the US, back to Ohio, and then you'll see next week the normal background for my live streams that I had, when I first started doing them. So as usual, this is an Ask Me Anything. We can talk about YouTube if you have questions. We can talk about my Apple if you have questions about what's going on with them. We can talk about my personal life. What am I up to? And remember, there's over 100 people already in this stream. I won't be able to answer everyone's question. So this is how we do things. You can send a super chat, which is a donation through the live chat box, and that will highlight your question so I can answer it. If you don't want to do that, there's a second way to get your question answered, and that's joining our Discord server, which is you have to be at least 13 years old to join. And after every live stream, I go over there and answer one question per person. I make a little mini Q&A video on our Discord server. Once Daniel, our moderator, joins this live stream, he'll post a link to that so you can join. Or Alex. Alex, I see he is with us right now. Thank you for joining us, Alex. He's our moderator. Alex, if you could post the Discord link in the live chat, that would be great. Thank you. We already have a super chat. Thank you, Daima Krob, for your $3 super chat. They said, "What do you do for work?" I never caught that. I do YouTube. I do YouTube full time. Alex said, "We don't need Daniel. I can do it." Thank you, Alex. He just posted the link to our Discord server if you didn't catch it. Giovanni said, "How old are you?" I am 26. And it looks like there's not... Let me try to fix the lighting situation here. Give me 1 second. Okay, I don't know if that helped at all, but it didn't seem to help very much, did it? Yeah, this is live, Lego. This is a live stream, and I'm trying to brighten this up, but I can't. Look, there's actually some filters here I can use. That looks pretty good. What about that one? What about some bubbles? Oh my god, I never knew there was filters here. That looks pretty good. I think that brightens things up. All right, let me get rid of that. Okay. Windows XP said, "Did you take your big water bottle to Japan?" No, I have a temporary little water bottle because I didn't want to take up room in my luggage with a big one. Lance Gamer 9108, thank you for your $5 super chat. That's very generous. They said, "What are your thoughts on the 2020 iPhones?" Well, we just I just read another rumor yesterday that supposedly the display panel on next year's iPhones are going to be thinner and more power efficient. So I'm excited. I think the 2020 iPhones are going to be a big update. We're supposed to see a refreshed design, maybe a smaller notch, some interesting new technology like maybe reverse wireless charging, maybe 5G. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm trying to think if there's any other rumors that I'm excited about with the 2020 iPhone. I'm just really, really happy with my 11 Pro Max. I'm really happy, especially with battery life. We have a lot of super chats coming in. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. This next one is from Golden Age Majestic. Thank you for your $5 super chat. They said, do you think it's worth getting the iPad Pro 3rd generation? Do you think it's worth getting the iPad Pro? Let me just verify which model you're talking about. Okay, yeah. Do I think it's worth getting it? If you're asking me, is it worth the price? Yes, but of course it depends what you're using it for. I mean, maybe for some people it's not worth it. Maybe for some people they use their computer a lot more rather than their iPad. It depends on your unique situation. That being said, the 3rd gen iPad is like a year and a half old or over a year old. So what I would try to do is go to swappa.com or go to eBay or even Amazon. You can find some used Apple stuff. Although Amazon typically is more expensive than eBay. Look at the used market for the iPad Pro because you could probably save a couple $100 buying it used, but still get it in good condition and not really experience, any compromises in terms of the iPad Pro itself. Firas Abueda, I think I just saw your super chat. Yes, thank you, Firas, for your $5 super chat. Firas said, have you enjoyed your time in Japan? Yeah, I really have. I love being here. I really enjoyed it. I got to experience New Year, which is awesome. The Christmas. Even back in October, I was here for Halloween, which was fun. Will you come back next year? I'm coming back in 3 days, so in 2020. DJ Coldstop said, do you like the OtterBox case? Well, there's a lot of different kinds of OtterBox cases now. They make a slim version as well as their like heavy duty commuter model. I've never really been a fan of OtterBox. The heavy duty cases, because that's what they're known for, is they're expensive, big cases. I've always felt like they're overkill, for me at least. I rarely drop my phone. I'm obviously pretty particular about my electronics, so I protect them a lot. I'm always paranoid about scratching them or cracking them. I've never cracked an iPhone, although I have dropped iPhones. But I only use Apple cases. I mean, I used to never use iPhone cases until I tried Apple's leather case, and it was really comfortable. It worked really well. It wasn't much of a sacrifice to the experience of using an iPhone. But with my new iPhone 11 Pro Max, I bought an Apple case with it and then realized with this phone, since it's so big, I prefer not having a case at all. And although I have dropped it a couple times, like from my bed onto the floor, so it wasn't that high. I haven't had any issues with scuffs or cracks or anything because this model is more durable than other models. So I've left the case off now. So Daniel is our other moderator. Thank you for your $2 super chat. He said, Greg, you didn't wait for me. Yeah, today we started a little bit early. Yostel said, why do you think Apple didn't change much in its operating system regarding the main interface? Because Apple doesn't change things just for the sake of change. They only change something if it makes sense from a practical perspective or a functional perspective. For example, in iOS 7, Apple didn't just change the interface to a flat design just for the sake of it or for the fun of it or just to do something new. The skeuomorphic design interface was past its prime. There was really no functional purpose to keep skeuomorphism on the iPhone anymore. And for functional reasons, it needed an updated user interface. And so they did. In terms of macOS, it sort of borrowed some elements from iOS, so it naturally adopted some of those interface design elements, I guess. But yeah, Apple isn't the type of company to change something just so they can say, oh, look, it's new, it looks different. There has to be some functional reason behind doing it. Windows XP said, do you have Pokemon Sword or Shield? I got Pokemon Shield because it was the less popular version. Although now I realize the reason why Pokemon Sword is more popular. I think the exclusive, the version exclusive Pokemon that are in the Shield, or I'm sorry, the Sword version of the game are cooler than the ones in Shield. So I kind of wish I got Sword. Rehard said, what would Android have to do to get you to switch over to Android from Apple? Oh man, everything Apple does. So it really doesn't make sense for Android to try to get Apple customers or Apple users or users who like or who are happy with their iPhones, because they're serving a different customer. I mean, they're serving a different market, basically. And actually, I just read an article a couple of days ago where the author was complaining about Android advertisements in the operating system. And I'm thinking, what? Advertisements in the operating system? And I never knew this was a thing. But I guess if you have an Android device and you install some third-party apps, like even from the Google Play Store, the official app store on Android, some of those apps, it's not uncommon for them to automatically install advertisement banners or advertisement notifications in the operating system that like random advertisements, like buy a new QLED TV from Samsung, like. And I'm telling you, these advertisements were like in the operating system, like in the menu in settings and popping up as notifications. I was shocked. And there were comments, people saying, oh, it's not that hard to delete the advertisements. You can find the app that it's coming from and then delete it, and then those advertisements will go away, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, maybe it's easy for you to navigate that problem, but I know people who have trouble turning on their TV. Like, not everyone is at the same level of tech savviness as you are, or as young people are, or whatever. And there are people who, if they see advertisements on their phone, they're not going to know. They're going to think, what the heck is that? Where is it coming from? And they're not going to be able to trace it back to a third-party app that they downloaded that they had no idea contained this stuff. I was just shocked. And it's just another reason why. It's just another thing where Apple's ecosystem, its walled garden, its strict enforcement of like Apple only products is a benefit, where people criticize it a lot. Like, oh, Apple doesn't, let iPhones run applications from anything except the App Store, or Apple doesn't let you do this with your phone, or Apple doesn't license their operating system to other manufacturers, so you don't have any choices when it comes to hardware. You're stuck with whatever Apple gives you. Yeah, but we're sort of shielded from all of this. I just want to call it BS. That Android it just runs rampant on Android. And it reminds me of PCs. Like, if you guys remember back in the day, if you had a PC, and you downloaded something like a game or something from the internet, a movie, oftentimes there was malware like bundled in with that download, or a virus, or like some Trojan horse that would do something bad to your computer. Whereas Mac users had a much less likely chance of that happening. And that's what it kind of reminds me of. And it's nice not having to worry about that as an Apple user. We have another super chat. Let me find it here. Fake deep name. Thank you for your $2 super chat. They said, what are your favorite apps, or do you use default ones? I mainly use Apple stock apps when it comes to like calendar and weather. I don't download third-party apps much. But what are my favorite apps? What do I use? Well, actually, when it comes to replacing Apple's default apps, I don't use their Maps app. I'm not a fan of Apple Maps at all. And I know they improved it recently. I still have to look into that. Here's my problem with Apple Maps. Here's the reason why I won't use it until they fix this one thing, and that is reviews. When I'm looking for a restaurant, or if I'm looking for something to do, and I find the location, I don't want reviews from outside the app. I don't want reviews from Yelp. Because then you want to look into it, or you want to look at pictures, or you want to look at more information, their hours, their menu, something. And then it's ripping you out of the Apple Maps app and taking you to Yelp. Like, that's awful. It's awful. The experience on Google Maps is way better. Not only is they actually have a native review system, but they have Street View, they have photos, they have sort of like a community, an established community, established data that Apple Maps just doesn't have. And it doesn't seem like Apple is trying to do that right now, which kind of sucks. So I use Google Maps. I love Google Maps. I'm trying to think if there's any other apps that I really like to use. I mean, I use YouTube all the time. Daniel, thank you for your $2 super chat. He said, I saw Apple Explain playing Mario Kart yesterday. Yeah, I saw you were like playing with me. Yeah, I love Mario Kart. Lorenzo Vergara said, Greg, why so early? We started the stream 20 minutes early because last week I had to leave the stream like 5 minutes early. There was an interruption, so I just wanted to make up some of that time to you this week. RG Highlights said, should I buy refurbished AirPods or pay $90 more for new? It kind of depends. When it comes to AirPods, you have to be careful because of the battery. Once AirPods are used like for a year or two, you really start to notice the battery degradation. And so when it comes to that, here's my recommendation. If you're buying like the second gen AirPods that just came out like less than a year ago, then I would say it's okay. because the batteries or the product hasn't even been out long enough for the batteries to degrade too much. So I think the savings you get is worth the battery life compromise. But when it comes to the original AirPods, I wouldn't really recommend buying those because you may buy a pair where the battery lasts for like an hour or maybe 2 hours. And then a year from now, maybe it won't even last half an hour. So that's always a risk. Just keep that in mind when buying them. Chop said, why did you change your name from White Apple to Apple Explained? Wow, Chop, you have been around for a while. You've been following my channel for a while, if you know what I called my old channel. If you guys don't know, when was that? I think it was before my videos really started getting popular. My channel wasn't called Apple Explained. It was called White Apple. That's what it was called. And I think I named it that just because before that, my channel was just my name. Like, it was just Greg Wyatt Jr. And I didn't really like the fact that my YouTube channel was my name. So I just wanted to put something in there. So I put White Apple. I don't know why I put White Apple. I think because my favorite color is white and I like apple. So I put White Apple. And my icon was actually like literally a white apple. But once my channel started getting popular and I wanted to grow it and I realized, you know, I'm trying to make a serious thing, then that's when I actually changed the name to Apple Explained. But I think the reason why I changed it is because White Apple doesn't really describe what the channel is. It's kind of random. But Apple Explained, I think people get an idea of what kind of videos I make with the name Apple Explained. Drew Martin said, are you in Honolulu? It's still daylight in the background. I'm in Tokyo, Japan right now. We have a super chat. Let me make sure I don't miss it. Owen, thank you for the $5 super chat. I don't know if you've ever sent a super chat before, Owen. I really appreciate that. Owen said, do you think Tesla will do what the iPhone did with Nokia and BlackBerry? Will the legacy automakers start to fall behind? Yes, I really believe that. Now more than ever, now that we see sort of the performance of electric cars from non-Tesla companies, like from legacy auto manufacturers, here's the problem. Tesla is like 10 years ahead of any other car company when it comes to electric cars because they've been working on the battery technology for years. They've been working on their supercharging technology and deploying it around the world for years. So they're ahead in their supercharging infrastructure. And what we've seen is that advantage play out over the past couple of years. You know, I mean, it was Jaguar who made an EV SUV, and then was it Audi who made one or Mercedes who made one? There were a lot of legacy auto manufacturers making electric vehicles, and they weren't selling well, and their performance wasn't as good as Tesla cars, and they were usually more expensive. So they have a huge advantage. And here's the thing: electric cars are the future. That's undeniable. The thing is, the transition from gas cars to electric cars will take longer than the transition from, flip phones or, old Blackberries and Nokias to iPhones. because people upgrade their phone every couple years, but people don't change their car every couple years. People buy a new car every 8 to 10 years. But I really believe that in the next 10 to 15 years, Tesla is going to be on top. And as the world becomes more EV focused, it's going to be harder for established gas car companies to compete. But really good question. Thank you for that, Owen. Lucas Lippy said, what do you think of the new engraving options of the AirPods? Yeah, if you guys didn't know, you can now engrave your AirPods with emoji. You can put a little ghost emoji or whatever on your AirPods. It's funny. I mean, I'm not a fan of engraving because you can't return it, and it's not really good for resale value because people don't want AirPods that have been engraved. They want like a fresh pair of AirPods. But it's funny. I'm surprised they didn't do it sooner, actually. Alex, our moderator, said, Greg, will you be talking on Discord after the stream? Yeah, so after this stream ends, I'm going to be on Discord. And, Chop said he was around since 7,000 subs. Thank you, Chop, for your support. I really appreciate that. I'll be on Discord. Everyone gets to ask one question. I'm going to make a little Q&A video for you guys there. So I will be on Discord after this stream ends. Make sure you join. Hugh James said, is Apple cheaper in Japan for certain products? No. Actually, they're a little bit more expensive, but I think it's just Apple adding some cushion for the exchange rate because that changes on a daily basis. But no, typically they're a little more expensive in Japan. Resnick Isaacson said, do you think we'll see a smaller HomePod soon? Yeah, I think we'll see like a HomePod mini maybe sometime this year, according to rumors, but we never really know. Miggy said, should I sell my iPhone 10 for a 10R at the same price or an iPhone 11 for 100 or 150 more? I would go for the iPhone 11. Going from an iPhone 10 to a 10R, I don't even know if that's really an upgrade. You're getting a lower quality display, although it's bigger. You're getting a camera system that's not as good. You're getting, I think, build quality that's not as nice. The 10R is aluminum instead of steel. So, yeah, I would go for the 11. I think it's definitely worth it. Daniel, thank you. Daniel is our moderator. He sent a $2 super chat. He said, Greg talking on Discord more equals more super chats. Lorenzo Vergara said, Greg, what would you use to film, a tripod or selfie stick? I don't even own a selfie stick. I always use a tripod. Elon Tusk said, what is your recommendations for those trying to start a YouTube channel? Do something family friendly. If you ever want to try and make money from YouTube, if you're just doing it for fun, I guess you don't have to be family friendly. Do something unique, something that no one else is really doing. Don't copy people, because chances are the person you're copying is doing it better than you could do it. So there's no reason for people to watch your videos. And you have to enjoy it because, for example, it took I posted my first video like 10 years ago, and I didn't actually have any success on YouTube until 2 years ago, maybe. So if you're just doing it for money or for popularity or something like that, chances are it's going to take years to achieve. And if you're not enjoying it, you're just going to be miserable for all those years. Lance Gamer 9108, thank you again for that $5 super chat. I really appreciate it. They said, "Do you think Apple would ever make a vape?" Well, considering that Apple recently deleted a lot of vaping apps from their app store for health concerns, I'm almost certain Apple would never make a vape. CC Minikid said, "Can you do a video about the new leaked iPhone 9 slash iPhone SE 2? No, I don't make video. I mean, no, I don't make videos about rumors. That's not the kind of channel I have. But the kind of video I would make is if Apple did release a new iPhone SE, I could make a video about, you know, the return of the iPhone SE, and I can talk about the history, the significance, sort of the role it plays in Apple's iPhone line, the importance, the popularity, and sort of take a historical look at the story behind the iPhone SE. But I'm not a speculation channel. Lorenzo Vergara said, "Greg, do you hate the screen protector that makes the notch look ugly?" I'm not sure what you're referring to. Wowifying said, "Greg, what should I expect when my refurbished iPhone 8 Plus from Amazon arrives in the mail?" Just test it and test the battery just to make sure it still has a good amount of battery life. Actually, you can check the battery health in settings. Patrick Moeller said, "Would you do a video?" Ow. I think I scratched myself. "Would you do a video on the history of Apple insiders and leaks?" I don't know what you mean by Apple insiders. I mean, I probably could make a video about Apple leaks. But there's, I think, other topics that I'm more interested in doing. Hugh James said, "Do you think Apple will make a 19-inch MacBook Pro?" That would be huge. I mean, that would be a big MacBook. I don't think they would go that big. Resnick Isaacson said, "How has the physical retail experience evolved over the years, and where do you see it going?" If you want to get like the full story behind Apple's retail experience, I made a video about that. I think it's the history of Apple's Fifth Avenue store. I think that's the video where I talk about the evolution of retail. So I would check that out. But it's improving. I really think it's improving and it's going in the right direction. That's my quick take. Okay, we have a lot of super chats. Thank you guys. Let me make sure I don't miss them. The first super chat is from Kay. Thank you, Kay, for joining us this week, and thank you for that $2 super chat. They said, "Hi, upgrade my Series 1 to Series 4 or just save?" I would upgrade. If you have a Series 1 Apple Watch, I would upgrade to the Series 4. You can buy it used for a pretty good price. Because saving and waiting, you would have to wait almost another year for the next Series 5, or sorry, the Series 6, the next Apple Watch to come out at the end of 2020. So I think it's worth just buying the Series 4 now. That Gamer Ant, thank you for the $2 super chat. They said, imagine an Apple car by Tesla and Apple. That would be pretty cool. I've always been curious about what an Apple car would look like. Because Jonathan Ive, I know he's not technically working for Apple anymore, but he started his design career working in the car industry. So he does have some experience with that. Bob the Bacteria said, Greg, is your finger bleeding? No, it's weird. It's not bleeding, but it kind of feels like a paper cut. I think I cut it on something. Seon YT, thank you for your $1 Canadian super chat. And Faraz Abueda, thank you for your $2 super chat. They said, will you come back to Japan next year? Yeah, in spring 2021, I will visit Japan again. Hold on. Where was that comment? iTrul said, do a video on Mac OS Jaguar. And he spelled Jaguar Jagwire. I don't know if you guys know this story, but I made a video about the history of Mac OS. And in the video, there's a version called Jaguar. And I guess the word Jaguar, I was pronouncing wrong. I was saying Jaguar because that's how Steve Jobs pronounced it, Jaguar. And that's how I've always pronounced it my entire life. So like the top 5 comments were just people like calling me out on saying Jaguar instead of Jaguar. So that's what that reminded me of, made me laugh. Nacho Cheese. If you want a recommendation on like what computer you should get, you have to tell me what you're going to use it for. Because for every person, it's different. Fake Deep Name, thank you for that $2 super chat. That's your second one of the night. I appreciate it. They said, regarding retail experience, improving but extremely convoluted. Yeah, here's the problem. I've heard a lot of people recently complaining about the Genius Bar experience, how they feel like Apple isn't really repairing products anymore, but they're just replacing them. And they're not spending as much time trying to figure out what the problem is. And I agree. I've had that experience as well. But here's what we need to realize. 10 years ago, Apple was not the company they are today. 10 years ago, the iPhone was just starting to get popular. There was no iPad, there was no Apple Watch, there was no AirPods. It was pretty much Mac. I mean, that was Apple's main business 10 years ago. And that's when Macs were still kind of repairable. You know, 2009, 2010 was when MacBooks really started to get not repairable. Like the batteries were not replaceable anymore, and you couldn't change out the hard drives anymore. You couldn't replace the RAM anymore. But before that, there weren't nearly as many people going into Apple stores as there are today. There weren't nearly as many Apple users as there are today. So the volume of people visiting the Genius Bar has like grown exponentially since just 10 years ago. And the products have changed. So they're not really repairable anymore. They're replaceable. And you can argue whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but that's just the fact of the matter. So it's not that Apple is becoming like lazier or that Apple Store Genius Bar people don't care as much. It's just that the circumstances in the tech industry has changed, and the Apple Bar or the Genius Bar has kind of changed with it, to where if you have a problem and it's in warranty, they're just going to replace it. Usually there's not many repairs that they'll do, unless it's like a display repair or maybe a battery replacement. But that's pretty much the extent of it, as far as I know. Our next super chat. Thank you, Rosemary YT, for your $2 super chat. I appreciate it. They said, how would you rank your growth on this channel? What do you mean? How would I rank my growth? Good. I think my channel is growing pretty well. I'm really happy with where I'm at. I mean, we're at almost 500,000 subscribers. I never thought I would ever be in charge of a YouTube channel that had 500,000 subscribers. So yeah, I think we're doing pretty incredible things. Kay, thank you for your $2 super chat. That's your second one of the night, I believe. Kay said, also, Happy New Year. Thank you, Kay. How was New Year's in Japan? It was fun. So New Year's in Japan, there are a couple traditions because that's like the biggest holiday of the year is New Year's. What you do is you eat some noodles. There's a certain type of noodles called soba, and you eat that at midnight, sort of like going from one year to the next. And supposedly it brings you good luck into the new year. Also, you visit a shrine on the first day of the new year and you pray, and then you get a little, I don't know what it's called actually. You get this little like fortune paper, and it tells you like if you're going to have good luck for the next year or if you're going to have bad luck, if you're going to be healthy or you're going to have health problems. And then if you get a bad fortune, you have to tie it to this little thing, like a little line, a little wire. You tie it to the wire, so you're like sending away the bad luck. But if it's a good fortune, you keep it with you, and then it's sort of like a good luck charm for the new year. So it's a really cool experience to be here for that. Boy, we have a lot of super chats today. Thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Seon YT, thank you for your $2.79 Canadian super chat. Seon said, why don't you talk on your Discord? Because I am busy with other things. It's very easy to get distracted, and I need to stay focused. I need to stay focused on making videos, on writing videos, on getting sponsors, on growing the channel. And if I have too many things to do, it really hinders my productivity when it comes to work. Even these live streams, I mean, I can do them, but it's just an extra thing I have to do. And I don't want to have to feel that way about work. I don't want to have to feel like it's just something I have to get done. I really want to enjoy it. So that's why I let you guys ask me a question, and then that's my involvement on Discord. Maybe in the future I'll be a little more active, but we'll see. Xbox Gaming said, what website do you get your facts about Apple from? I just Google everything. Different articles, different tech sites, different forums. I mean, sometimes Reddit, sometimes Quora. Anytime someone has some sort of factual article or opinion, I guess factual opinion, does that make sense? I like to read it and just get their take and understand different points of view and discover things I didn't know before. Brett Walton, thank you for your $2 super chat. Brett said, just got an iPad Pro. Is Apple Care worth it? I wouldn't get Apple Care for an iPad Pro. I'm not sure how much it costs, but unless you are like using it out all the time and you're afraid you're going to drop it or something's going to happen to it, I wouldn't worry about getting Apple Care. Sheldon Williams, thank you for your $2 super chat. Sheldon, it's nice to see you this week. He said, what are your goals you want your channel to reach this year? I would like to get to over 200. I mean, we will get to over 200 videos this year. I know we can reach 500,000 subscribers this year. That should happen fairly soon. I'm really excited about that. And I just want to grow the channel. I want to keep making successful videos. I really want to make a documentary this year. I want to make a hour and a half long video about some topic that I can discuss in detail that's really interesting. I've been thinking about it, and I think I want to do a long form video on how Steve Jobs became a business icon. I think I'm going to do a video about that because I originally thought I would make a video about the history of Steve Jobs and sort of like tell his whole life story in a video. But I feel like that's been done before, and I would just be repeating what other people have been saying. So I wanted to do a unique take. And I think a lot of people, especially younger people who weren't around for Steve Jobs, or they don't remember Steve Jobs, because he did pass away 8 years ago. So if you're, 11 or 12 or even 13 years old, you may not have been, you were alive when Steve Jobs was alive technically, but you weren't really around for what he accomplished in terms of the iPhone and iPod and things like that. So I kind of want to make a video about all his accomplishments, like the really big milestone things that he did that sort of defined his career, just so people don't forget really the significance of the things that he achieved, which is easy to do, I think. Minty, thank you for your $2 super chat. Minty said, will the S20 be better than the iPhone 12? I have no idea. I really don't think one is better than the other. It just depends on how you compare them. It depends on what you prefer. It depends on on your preferences. So I never decide one way or the other, honestly. Seon YT said, I missed your super chat. Seon, you asked why don't you talk on your Discord, and I believe I already answered that. Unless you have a different super chat that you're talking about. Oh. Okay. Sorry, guys. There's quite a few super chats. I'm trying to make sure I don't miss any of them. Tom Babula, thank you for that $2 super chat. I appreciate it. I think this is the first time Tom has ever sent a super chat. Tom said, how common is the issue with lens flare in iPhones? I'm not aware that it's been an issue recently. I think the only time it was really a big issue was with the iPhone 5, because even I had that issue with the iPhone 5. There was like a purple lens flare sometimes when you took a picture, especially if the light source was like right outside the frame. But I don't think it's a big problem anymore. Correct me if I'm wrong. Fake Deep Name, thank you for your $2 super chat. They said, pro tip, check your credit card benefits for extended warranty. Yeah, oh, sorry. I did not realize that meant. Sometimes, if you have a credit card, they do offer extended warranties on products if you have a credit card with that benefit. Lucas Lippy, thank you for that $5 super chat. Lucas said, do you see Apple's monopoly over the smartphone market fall like what happened with Nokia and BlackBerry when new tech comes in or possibly bankruptcy. Here's the difference. With Nokia and BlackBerry, um, the phone market was much different back then. It's not like what we see today. And the revenue of those companies was not nearly as large as the revenue Apple's bringing in from the iPhone today. So Apple has so much cash, even if they stopped making money from the iPhone, even if they stopped making money, period, tomorrow, they still have enough cash for like at least 100 years of operation. It's kind of like the reason why IBM is still around today, even though they lost the computer war against Apple. They had so much cash they could survive and move on to other things. Now IBM is more focused on business to business services and products instead of consumer products. Anyway, Apple, the reason why Apple was able to take over BlackBerry is because of their product philosophy that exists to this day. And I think it will be difficult for a company to out Apple if Apple is still the same company, is still practicing the same philosophy, if they don't get complacent. Because that's what BlackBerry did. BlackBerry was not an innovative company. They were just they were sort of lucky in that people were buying their smartphone because there was nothing better available. So if no one can make anything better than the iPhone, then people are going to keep buying iPhones. And I think if there is something better than the iPhone, Apple will make it, and they will sort of cannibalize sales of their own iPhone, similar to like what they did with the iPod. There was something better than the iPod. It was called the iPhone, and it cannibalized sales of the iPod, and that's why Apple discontinued making it. But Apple was the one to introduce that new technology, and they've proven that many times, and I think they'll continue to do that in the future. So it's not likely that that same thing will happen with Apple in terms of being outsmarted or out-innovated by a new company. Firas Abueda, thank you for that $5 super chat. Firas said, what made you start your live streams for the channel? Actually, the first live stream was sort of like a celebration for reaching 300,000 subscribers about 6 months ago. And ever since then, or the first live stream was honestly more successful than I had expected. I thought maybe we would have like 30 or 40 people, and maybe we would get enough questions for me to answer. But we had like almost 200 people on the live stream, and then the questions, I mean, similar to how they are today, they're just flowing. People, wanted to know a lot about the channel and Apple and stuff, and wanted my opinion on things. So I thought, well, I wasn't able to answer everyone's questions, so I should do one weekly, and then I can get to more questions. And I think it's just nice to have this conversation with the community, with my viewers, because it's more personal than only, hearing my voice through my videos. Shiji M, thank you for that $2 super chat. And Ma, this is Ma. Thank you for joining us this week, Ma. They said, surprised many Apple fans don't know what Time Machine is. Yeah, Time Machine can be very helpful. We have another super chat from Lucas Lippy. Thank you, Lucas, for that $5 super chat. This is the second one of the night. Lucas said, what do you think of Apple's shift into the services market? Yeah, Apple Music, Apple TV Plus, Apple Arcade. It's exactly what they needed to do. I think services are going to become even more important to tech companies. It's right up Apple's alley. I mean, they've had similar services in the past, like iTunes. And they need it in terms of revenue because hardware sales are slowing down. They needed another source of revenue so that they can continue growing their company and it doesn't stagnate, which is sort of a really bad thing for shareholders, which is what Apple needs to make more money. So it's the right decision. I think it's a great idea, and I think they are doing it very well. Melanie Smith said, "Where are you?" I am in Tokyo, Japan right now. Lucas Lippy, thank you again for your third super chat, $2. Thank you very much. Lucas said, "Thanks. Have a nice night." Thank you, Lucas. Good night. Yeah, Estray Productions said, "Is it a different time zone?" Right now, I am in Tokyo, Japan. So it is Sunday, 12:35 in the afternoon for me. Miggy Maglente said, "Speaking of Johnny Ive earlier, how do you feel about Apple designing their own products without Johnny?" Well, it's not without Johnny. He still is working with Apple. He just has his own design studio called Love From. But Apple is the studio's biggest client. It's their first client. So he technically is still working with Apple. Marco Frione, thank you for that $2 super chat, Marco. Marco said, I have Squarespace because of you." That's awesome. What do you use it for? Because I actually use Squarespace for my website. So I was really happy because I contacted them, or I asked my manager, my agent, to contact them because I had been using Squarespace for years, and I saw Squarespace sponsoring like all these YouTubers, and I'm like, I think I'm a good YouTuber for them to sponsor because I've been using their product for years and I really like it. And so I was really happy when Squarespace came back and was willing to sponsor a lot of my videos. And Marco also said, iJustine collab. If iJustine would collab with me, I think that would be amazing. I would love to collaborate with a YouTuber as amazing and big as she is. The problem is most collaborations happen because YouTubers live in the same city, which is LA. And I don't live in LA, I live in Ohio. So it makes it a lot harder to collaborate with other YouTubers. Lorenzo said, "Didn't Squarespace sponsor you many times before?" Yeah, Squarespace sponsored me after I reached out to them and asked them, "Would you like to sponsor me?" Tech Geos said, "Do you prefer to use the built-in trackpad and keyboard on your MacBook Pro or use an external mouse and keyboard?" Right now, since I'm traveling in Japan, I use the trackpad and keyboard in the MacBook, on the MacBook. I didn't bring my external stuff. But when I'm at home in the US, I have an external monitor. So I use an external mouse and keyboard with that. But I'm able to use a trackpad and get my video editing done and all the work done that I need to, and it's really, it's nice to use the trackpad. iTrul said, "Does Apple sponsor you?" No, Apple doesn't sponsor any YouTuber. I'm hoping that changes one day, but I don't think it will. Lucas Lippy said, "Do you see Apple glasses coming out this year?" I don't know. I don't know. Rumors have been all over the place with Apple glasses. It might be something like the Apple television set. At one point, everyone thought Apple was going to release their own television set, and then it never happened. I think we might see the same thing with this Google Glasses thing, or I'm sorry, Apple Glasses thing, because the rumors have just been really unreliable and really all over the place. And I don't know. Typically, rumors become more consistent and they come from more reliable sources when before Apple releases a product. So if they're releasing it this year, we should start to see those leaks come in. Ken Bonjay said, last time you said you didn't think Apple was going to have their own car. Why then are there still active talks about Apple's Titan project? We don't know what the Titan project is. I personally speculate that it's not an actual car, but it's sort of like an operating system for a car, an electric car. I think Apple is trying to make their own self-driving technology. I think they're trying to make a platform that they can license out to other car manufacturers as EVs become more popular. I highly doubt Apple is making an actual car. It's sort of like the Apple TV thing. Like everyone thought Apple was going to come out with their own TV, but they didn't. Instead, they came out with a box that you plug into a TV. I think it'll be something similar to that. And Apple is already sort of in that industry with CarPlay. So they already have some experience making software for cars. I think they're just trying to make the next big thing in order to have a more dominant position in that market. Miggy Malente said, is the iPad Pro already a substitute for a MacBook? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. There's a lot of things that you can't do on an iPad, especially if you're doing video editing or serious stuff like that. Maybe, I think one day that'll change, but I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. Seon YT said, will you still be streaming when you go back to Ohio? Yes. Aaron Foth said, which MacBook Pro do you use? I have the 2017 MacBook Pro 15-inch space gray. Evan the Mac said, will you make a channel called Android Explained? Probably not, but I am thinking about making like well, I shouldn't say that, but in my mind, I have imagined if I were to make a second channel, maybe it would be called Tech Explained and just sort of talk about things that aren't Apple related. Yeah, I don't know. I was also thinking about making like a vlog channel. I don't know, but I'm not focused right now on a second channel. I really want to focus on growing this channel more because I think there's a lot of potential here and I don't want to like waste my time trying to grow a new channel when I could be spending that energy on this one. Someone keeps asking me what my name is. My name is Greg. It's in the title of this live stream. Sheldon Williams, thank you for your $2 super chat. Sheldon said, video you have learned the most from while making. That's a really good question. That's a really good question. Honestly, probably the history of the Fifth Avenue Apple Store. Because I knew some things about that Apple Store, but I didn't realize just how much of a story there was behind that location. Just that one location has like a whole story. You could probably make a movie about it. There's so much drama. it was really interesting, just the history of the property that it's on, how Apple came to acquire it, how Steve Jobs developed the store, the design, where he got the idea, sort of the development process with the landowner. I mean, there's just a lot of interesting things to that story that I never expected. Jacob, thank you for that $2 super chat. Jacob said, "What do you think about Apple CarPlay?" I think it's nice. I have experienced CarPlay before, but just a couple times, because I never had a car that had CarPlay, and I still don't. But yeah, I think it's good. I think there's a lot more Apple can do with it, and I think that's what they're trying to do. Is they're trying to sort of build the ultimate infotainment system for a car. Ultimate Editor said, "As an Apple fan, I feel Apple is no longer innovative. What do you think of their new products? Nothing new." AirPods Pro, original AirPods, Apple Watch, I mean, there's a lot of innovation Apple has had over the past 5 years that I think that not many people consider, or they discount it. I feel like I'm missing something big. I wouldn't really call the HomePod super innovative, although there is some really good sound technology that they were able to integrate into the HomePod for its size. But no, I think that whole narrative of Apple's no longer innovative is, there's no evidence to back it up. I mean, there's people might handpick some things, but if you consider holistically Apple's product line today, I don't think you can make that argument. Someone keeps saying, "Do I miss Steve Jobs?" I mean, yeah. I mean, I miss Steve Jobs. I wish he didn't die. But I don't like to get caught up in the whole, like, oh, do you think Steve Jobs is a better CEO? Do you think Apple would be better if Steve Jobs was still CEO? Do you think Tim Cook is doing bad? I mean, I think any Apple fan would say they miss Steve Jobs. But I don't miss him because I think Apple isn't doing well. I just miss him as a human being. I loved hearing him talk and give presentations. Ken Bonge said, "Who do I need to talk to so I can get a job at the Apple Store? I have been trying for 3 years." I totally empathize with that. When I was a teenager, I was trying to get a job at Apple for years and years and years. And it was like my main goal as a teenager was getting a job at the Apple Store. And I never did. I was invited to 4 different hiring events, and I never got an interview from that. So I feel your pain. And what I was told by a lot of people who worked at Apple, because I tried so hard to get a job there, was 90% of the people who are hired at Apple stores, this is just what someone told me, 90% of people who are hired at Apple stores already know someone who works there. They're like a reference. They were referred by an existing employee. And I didn't know anybody who worked at an Apple store. So I was just trying to get a job, cold, just as a new hire. So I think that's part of the issue is that if you don't know anyone who works there, it's harder to get a job there. All I can say is just keep updating your resume on Apple's website and keep your fingers crossed. I mean, I wasn't able to do it, but I hope you're able to do it. Some people are asking how old I am. I'm 26 years old, although my birthday is this month and I'll be 27. Yeah, Daniel just posted a link to our Discord server. So if you're not getting your question answered, join our Discord server. I will be there after this live stream ends. And then everyone gets to ask one question, and then I'll answer all of them in a video there. Roar said, I thought you were 40 or 45. Do I look like I'm in my 40s? That's not a good sign. Jiwoo Lee said, can you program? No, I'm not a developer. I never learned to do any coding. Although I think it's a really cool skill to have if you can do that. Chris Hendricks said, when are you going home? Yeah, right now I'm in Tokyo, Japan. I'll be leaving here in 3 days to return to the US. The Apple Brain. No, I am single and I'm in Japan just to enjoy the city. Tokyo is my favorite city in the world, and I just really like being here and feeling like I'm kind of living here. So that's why I came. iTrul said, do you have a Tesla? Yeah, I have the Model 3. Lorenzo Vergara said, what's on your bucket list for iOS 14? That's a good question, because iOS 13 addressed a lot of my problems. I really want, I know I've said this a million times before, and I'll keep saying it until it's implemented, but I really want Apple to make the call screen like dismissible. So you know how we get a call, and it takes over the screen and you can't get out of it until it stops ringing. I would like to be able to like swipe up or something to sort of dismiss that call without ending it or answering it. Daniel, our moderator, said, why is your Patreon gone? Yeah, if you guys didn't know, I used to have a Patreon, but it wasn't what I wanted it to be. It wasn't really working out the way I expected. And I think it's because Patreon is like a separate platform. So it's sort of hard to get people to move from YouTube to a completely separate platform and kind of still have continuity between the two. I mean, it's worked for other YouTubers, but it just didn't work for this channel, which is fine. I think what would work better is the memberships option on YouTube. The problem is I don't have access to the memberships feature yet. But once I do, I would like to build a community on there. And then I can offer you guys cool things on YouTube instead of offering something on Patreon. I can offer like emojis and special badges that you can use even in these live chats or in the comment section of videos. We can do like exclusive live streams just with the members. So there's there's better things that we can do on YouTube once I get access to that feature. Hopefully that will be soon. Marco Frone, thank you for your second super chat. Marco said, do you like old Apple stores before the refurbs? I mean, for nostalgia reasons, yes, I think they're cool. But the newer remodeled Apple stores are definitely better. Yeah, Balderone, my birthday is actually on the same day that the iPad was announced. So the iPad was announced on January 27th, and that's my birthday. So it's pretty cool. It's sort of like the iPad was a birthday present from Steve Jobs, just for me. But I didn't buy it. I didn't buy the original iPad. I waited until the third generation. Mr. Moraki said, have you been to the Apple Store in Chicago by the river? Yes, I have, and it was beautiful. It was the first like updated Apple Store I had ever seen with the Today at Apple section with the big screen and sitting area and stuff. And I was so impressed with how it looked, how big it was, everything it offered. I thought it was beautiful. All right, I'm going to be on for about 3 more minutes, so I'll just take a couple more questions. And remember, if you didn't get your question answered, join our Discord server if you're at least 13 years old. You can post one question after each live stream and I'll answer it in a Q&A video. Srisa said, have you been to Apple Park? I have not, but I would like to visit someday. Jack White, yeah, I live in Ohio. Aaron Foth said, what are your thoughts on the Mac Pro? I think it's a really impressive machine. And judging from the videos that I've seen so far, I think, I don't know if there's any other computer on the market that can match its performance. I really think Apple did the right thing by going back to the modular design. iFixit gave it a repairability score of 9 out of 10. It's Apple's most repairable product in a long time. And I think that's exactly what pro users need. Max Tech Studios said, which iPhone should I buy upgrading from a 6S? I would look into the iPhone 11. If you can afford the iPhone 11, it's a really good value. They're giving you a lot of features for an even lower price than the iPhone XR was, which is pretty impressive. Max and Ray, yeah, said, who designs your thumbnails? I design them. I write the scripts for my videos. I edit the video, I record the audio, I edit the audio, I do the thumbnails, I do the tags, I do the description, I do everything. I do the subtitles, I do everything for my videos. Although one day, honestly, one day I would like to hire someone. I would like to hire a writer. Um, I would like to hire people so that I can make more videos. I mean, if I could make 3 videos a week, that would be awesome, but I can't do that by myself. So maybe one day I'll reach out on Discord and ask, like, hey, does anyone want to write something? Like, does anyone know enough about Apple to write about a topic? Because I would definitely like to hire maybe a couple people. All right, I'm going to answer one more question. I want it to be a good one. now, now everyone's like, hire me, Greg. I can do it. If you think you can write a script, because that's what a script like my videos, send me a message on Discord, and then we'll talk, and we'll see. Maybe we can work something out. Lorenzo said, hire me. I have a middle school education. That's all you need. That's all you need is a middle school education. Hugh James said, does Uber Eats work in Tokyo with your US app? Okay, here's a funny story. I probably shouldn't tell this story. I've never used Uber Eats. I've used Uber, but not Uber Eats. Now, one day I was feeling really lazy. I had just worked all day. I didn't want to have to go out and walk to the supermarket or walk to get food. So I thought to myself, I'm going to do Uber Eats. I'm going to try it. And keep in mind, I'm in Japan. So I try to use the app on my phone because I already downloaded the app in the US, but the US app is different from the Japanese app. And I can't access the Japanese app store because the region on my iPhone is set to US. So I had to use the internet. So I'm sorry, I had to use a computer. So I went to my computer and I used Google Chrome because Google Chrome will automatically translate a Japanese website to English. So that's what I did. And I tried ordering some McDonald's from Uber Eats, and the total came out to like, I don't know, $15. And I thought I did everything right until I realized the location was incorrect. The problem was I had already submitted my order. So I submitted my order, and they don't show you a map until after you submit the order. And then they show you a map. The problem was I didn't realize the map, like my location was wrong until I saw the map. But by that point, it was too late. I couldn't change the location. And I couldn't call the guy because I don't have like a Japanese phone number. So I couldn't call him, and I don't speak Japanese, so I can't tell him like to change the address or whatever. So I didn't get my food. So I wasted $15, plus I had to go and walk and go to get food anyway. I had to leave. So I was punished for being lazy trying to do an Uber Eats when I should have just stopped being lazy and gone out and gotten food myself anyway. So that's my Uber Eats story. And I think that's a good way to end this live stream. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for your super chats. Thank you for joining Discord. If you did join, you can ask a question. Someone said, for the Discord questions, do I message you or put it in the chat? For Discord questions, there's a section on Discord called After Stream. You'll see it once you get there. There's a tab called After Stream. You go there, and then you post your question in that thread. And you only need to post it once. You don't have to keep posting it. I'm going to answer every question that is in that thread. And then that's the same place where I'm going to post the Q&A video. It's going to be in that thread on Discord. So again, thank you guys for spending time with me this weekend. I hope you guys are having a great weekend. I hope you had a great new year. And the next time we see each other, I will be in the US and you won't be seeing this anymore. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next week.